Conclusion. My ashram I built for the United States military to be a chaplain, engineer, medical school student no longer has to do with helping those in need, helping those returned from wars fought to support social housing and communism and philosophy and theory and activism and breaking windows and protests. My ashram, what I've made from what I learned from Gandhi and a shaman and another shaman and a Hindu and a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, and a Tibetan Buddhist monk, and a Zen Buddhist monk, now has to do with preparing for an eventual final and last homelessness. From an inevitable and obvious eviction to come, to arrive, to be here. Unfortunately, for not willingly participating and joining those who call women bitches in halls of a building with apartments where they leave to go get food, those who are called to be fucked up the next day, and kicking on doors and listening to what I'm saying now and observing what I do next, to have a synchronization for their thoughts and thinking they ruined with drugs and addiction. Ignoring an obvious solution to a problem mathematically denied by psychology and universities and colleges and doctors as a mystery. Unwilling to be bullied and harassed until I'm dead from a rope and a noose on a wall and a tree. Hanging my body and brain to leave a horror everyone calls an emotion and a color, a gender-neutral requirement, a self and an ego, a mind, professionally provided in documents explaining a human who knows more than another human, who can stare longer than another human, who can listen longer than another human, and who has a surveillance camera to observe a behavior nobody calls an experiment, but proclaims as a hotel with a do not disturb sign on a door. Someone from another organization teaching about mental health calls an experiment with a lab and information from B.F. Skinner and Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, where they learned about Mysterium Coniunctionis and dreams, linguistics, and Noam Chomsky at MIT talking about anarchy, sex with younger women and older men. Nobody's saying to anybody, you're pretty, you're beautiful, you want to go on a date, you want to have dinner, except when there's drugs involved and there's some liquor and some tobacco and someone needs a hit of some weed to smoke them calm and relaxed. From what everyone says was the meth in the glass they enjoyed from stimulation, rewarding a dominant buyer from some seller next to some child eating some food at a business called racist and unethical, false, and distracting, confusing, misdirecting, and not hallucinatory now. I live in an ashram where neighbors live in rooms in a house and have their own system within a system with their own procedures within their own processes within procedures and processes provided to them by their counselors who call them when they have an appointment, who visit them when they have an appointment, who support them when they're bothered, and say to people who harass them and bully them, go to the hospital, you're evicted, you're done, you're gone, you're finished, goodbye. But when someone says to them, no, I don't want your cognitive dissonance, I don't want your psychiatric medicine and your psychological letters and sounds and words and language and culture and diversity and ethnicity and community, tribal, primitive, indigenous, mayor and governor and city council and all of the repetitive parts of a photo and an image and a video given as consciousness instead of assistance with decision making and problem solving, nearly freezing to death during a coronavirus pandemic until I spent every last cent I had to feel warmth other than my blood getting near a temperature in hospitals, killing patients in ICUs. For the wisdom and the satisfaction provided by an elder who has a garden on a rooftop, where his freedom, his service to a country he proclaims as a veteran, denies my rights to speech, and says to me when I have a knife to say to him and his girlfriend, leave me the fuck alone, you bully fucking nasty human. Look at this, I served in the army. My dick's so big, I get young girls, in other words. His shit's so fresh, he's got a doormat, and he's lived here, he says, since a house with rooms called Caroline W. Apartments opened for business. Now, he doesn't check the time for a video on YouTube. They don't wake up and go, gosh, finally someone's saying something. There's way too many creepy people. There's way too many men. There's way too many breasts. And know where to go where someone's not observing and watching and listening and hearing and making sure a self and an ego and an AA meeting were attended. And a book was read about some philosophy and theory someone has about aliens and UFOs, and where to get the best tobacco and weed and drugs and some booze and liquor in the morning, with people shopping for eggs and yams and not bacon and some canned food and some frozen TV dinner to eat in a microwave. With a big screen TV and a bed in their apartment studio to rest when needed and eliminate exhaustion when the binge and addiction and attention for awareness no longer have concentration and focus. Synapses no longer connect to neurons, and anatomy and physiology from a dominant landlord, manager, supervisor, socialist, counselist, worker, professional, doctor from a university, college, classroom with a degree in control and limits and restrictions and culture and diversity and ethnicity and posture, with tight jeans and fluffy sweaters and psychological glasses with psychiatric clothing and style to match their intelligence and brilliance and genius, for eliminating climate change and getting rid of those racist economics and those police officers who cause their emotions to have too many colors and their gender neutral identity to have too many personalities now.